Hey, stolen cousins. Let's get into it, right? Like the video. Comment what time you watching the video at. Alright? You should already be subscribed to the channel. So me saying that to you should be pointless. Right? Right? It should be if you're subscribed to the channel like you should be. Because we're family. And that's what family do for one another. Subscribe to these channels. Yeah? And since we're already there, updated, let's get straight into these horror stories animated that we be doing. Right? 4 true beach horror stories. I love the beach. You like the beach? Let's get into it. What can happen at the beach? There be sharks at the beach. You can drown at the beach. People be scuba diving at the beach. A whole lot can happen at the beach. So let's get into it to see what they're going to tell us happened to them at the beach. So we can be like, well, it'll never be me. You know, let's do one of those. The shark? What did I say? Sharks at the beach. Story 1, shark attack.
My name is Austin Mitchell, and I'm an addict. Now, I know what you're probably thinking after hearing
What?
that. As I'm sure, images of the most common vices, for example, drugs and alcohol, just ran through your mind. But how I wish my addiction was that simple, as I'm an addict to something far worse than any other vices you may think of.
Excitement.
There really isn't a word for this condition, as some doctors and psychologists, that I am an extreme adrenaline junkie. But I know
excitement.
it isn't an adrenaline rush that I'm looking for. What I'm really addicted to is seeing death. Now, I know this must be very strange to hear, but after hearing my story, you'll understand the reason behind my strange addiction. I've been dealing with death ever since I was a little kid. When I was 10, I remember pulling dangerous stunts like pole walking on the high jungle gym during recess. I did this just to see how far I could get before I fell. My strange antics just went up a notch from there, as when I was 12, I decided to jump out of my bedroom window just for the fun of it. These bizarre activities led me to break a lot of bones, and I was rushed to the ICU more than once. My parents and siblings all thought I was insane, as they all believed something was truly wrong with my head. But I didn't blame them, as I knew they couldn't see what I was seeing.
I'm not.
As I grew older, I craved that dangerous feeling even more, as I started to do things that were even crazier. My friends at the time called me the ultimate daredevil, and it didn't take long before they saw my strange antics as a way to make a profit, because they eventually started filming them and uploading the videos online. These videos gained traction almost immediately, and it didn't take long before they all went viral. Most nights, I would read the comments under these videos, and I would see people saying things like, "I can't believe this guy is crazy enough to constantly put his life at stake just for our own amusement and to get a couple of views." I always chuckled at comments like these because I knew deep down that I didn't care about the views. I truly did all these dangerous acts for my own thrill.
Exactly.
It happened on the 16th of July, 2010. To increase the stakes, I decided to do something I had never done before, as I made arrangements to swim with sharks. This was probably the most dangerous thing I had ever done, and I wasn't sure if I was going to survive or not. My friends tried to talk me out of it, as they said it was far too dangerous. But I told them that they shouldn't be worried, as my goal wasn't to die, but to get so close to death that I could see her. They still tried to talk me out of it, but I had my mind made up, and no one was going to change it. We made our way to New Smyrna Beach in Florida, a place that was notoriously known as the shark capital of the world. Numerous safety precautions were made, as there was a safety boat nearby, in case anything too deadly happened. The cameras were then set up, and we began to wait. I still remember standing in the water with a huge smile on my face, as the thrill I felt was amazing. An hour had quickly gone by, and nothing had happened yet. I thoroughly enjoyed the suspense, as I knew something dangerous was going to happen at any minute now. But the hours kept passing us by, and nothing exciting had still happened. I could see the tension on the faces of my friends and the safety crew, as they were all expectantly waiting for something to happen. But as the day went by, the tension turned into fatigue, and it started to seem like no sharks were going to show up. It didn't take long before they told me that I should give up and try again tomorrow. But I didn't want to leave, and I was determined to see this through to the very end. I already knew it wasn't going to happen quickly, as I had done a lot of research on sharks. I knew these animals weren't ones to go out of their way to attack people, as the ISAF, International Shark Attack File, reported that it was more likely to be struck by lightning than be attacked by a shark. I knew the odds weren't in my favor, but I also knew that these animals had a crazy attraction to blood. So, to speed things up, I asked for a pocket knife. They gave me the knife,
Why would
and I
they give it
proceeded
to
to give
you?
myself a little cut on the leg while standing in the water. I told myself that this was bound to attract at
Oh,
least
they
one
don't
of them,
care about
and
you.
I
They
braced
want you to
myself for
die.
it, but nothing happened. It was
No?
getting pretty late now,
All right,
and I had
good.
been in the water for too long. The safety team kept trying to convince me to take a break before I continued, but I didn't agree. They could tell my mind was set on this, so they decided to go back to shore and get something to eat. As the safety
So
boat
they just
pulled away,
left you
I
out
started
there?
to get a change of heart. My skin was completely wrinkled now, and I was also pretty hungry. I was finally about to give up when it happened. I instantly felt like my leg was in a shredder as I was fighting to get dragged underwater. I
Oh!
thrashed and struggled against it, but it was too strong. The safety team, who had noticed this, immediately started to make their way back to me, but they were
Why
too
are
far to
you-
reach me in time. The pain
Underwater?
was unbearable, and I started to scream, but it didn't take long before I stopped screaming as I found myself smiling. This was it.
You're so
This
crazy.
was all I craved for, all I ever wanted. It was perfect.
This is
I stopped
sickening.
struggling now, and I was about to give in when two strong arms pulled me out of the water. Spear guns were used to repel the shark, and they quickly rushed me to the hospital. Luckily,
You see how
the
crazy
shark
that
wasn't
is to
able to
have
take my
to...
entire leg off, but I was left with 48 stitches for the 24 cuts I had received.
Oh.
This incident shook my friends as we were told that I was lucky to be alive. After that, they all decided to stop the videos and the extreme daredevil stunts, as they realized that I could have actually died that day. But all I
Do they
could
know
really
that
think
you didn't
about
care?
was the next life-threatening situation I was going to put myself in. I was always prepared to die, as I knew it was bound to happen sooner rather than later. I also knew that, even if they stopped filming me, I would continue doing my dangerous stunts to keep chasing that thrill.
That's crazy.
This was the only way I could come face to face with death. And I know I'll give anything to see her beautiful pale face once again.
Oh, you wild. That's sickening.
To most people, going to the beach is a form of relaxation, a place to chill, surf, and enjoy the sand and fresh air. But to me, a beach is a place I'm never going to visit again,
What
not
happened
after
to you?
my horrible experience there. This incident happened when I was in high school. I often go to parties and nightclubs. I stayed with my grandparents. I snuck out of the house daily, hardly slept at home, and my grandparents never noticed. On that particular day, my friends and I decided to have a beach party. We invited our girlfriends. I bought a lot of drinks and snacks. We were determined to party all night. We got to the beach and started partying. We played truth or dare and danced around. It wasn't long before we all became drunk and slept on the floor. An intense pain woke me up. I needed to ease myself. I stood up and staggered forward to relieve myself. It was already dark,
the
so
water?
I took out a flashlight. I was too drunk to walk to the toilet, so I decided to walk toward the water and do my business inside there. I let out a guilty frown as I continued the disgusting and disturbing act. I was almost done with my business when I had an eerie feeling of someone watching me. I looked around and I saw a hooded figure from afar. I took out my flashlight and pointed it in the direction. I didn't get a good look, but I could see his teeth. He was chuckling evilly. My heart skipped a beat, and I had an unusual feeling. The hooded figure started walking towards me. I nervously adjusted my pants to head back and wake my friends. Immediately, I turned around to go back. The strange figure walking towards me suddenly started running. I
Towards you?
increased my pace and quickly woke everyone up. I told them I saw someone strange and suspicious, and we needed to leave urgently. I took a stick, hoping to use it to defend myself. "Where is this strange person you're talking about?" Mike said. I looked back, but I didn't see anyone. "But he was just behind me," I said. My girlfriend, who
just
was still
thinking here.
sleepy. "What's wrong, Jack?" Did you see a ghost? She said as she burst out laughing.
Bitch!
Everyone joined her.
This is not the time.
That's what happens when you drink too much,
All
Mike
right.
said while tapping
So
my
next
shoulder.
time I'm gonna just let y'all die.
You must have seen a tree and thought it was a person. That's the work of vodka, Nathan said, handing me a bottle of vodka. I dismissed the thought and took my mind off what I saw. We continued partying and
So
drinking,
y'all all
and
dumb. Okay,
everything
that's your
was
fault.
fine. Mike staggered off with his girlfriend, one hand on her, and he had drinks in the other. Going to make out? Nathan said jokingly. We all smiled. After about 30 minutes, Jess, Mike's girlfriend, ran back, covered
Yep.
in blood.
Yep.
She tried
Don't
to
say
talk,
nothing
but
to me.
she was out of breath. We kept asking what happened. What the hell happened?
Where's old buddy?
Where's Mike? Nathan asked. Jess managed to squeeze some words out. A weird dude attacked us.
Don't
eyes
say
popped
shit to dude.
A weird
Jake
dude.
is his name? Because he
all
told y'all.
followed Jess to
Y'all
the scene.
are a key
She
to
said
him.
Mike
Don't
was
say
badly
nothing
hurt.
to him.
On getting there, we didn't see anyone. It must have been the strange guy I saw earlier,
But
I said
everybody
nervously.
knows
We searched the beach for a while and didn't see anything. I brought out my phone to call the police, but Nathan advised us to dispose of all the drugs. We gave Nathan all the drugs we had on us to dispose of. Nathan took it all and ran to the water to dispose of it there.
In the water.
My phone was still with me, and
That's
I was
weird.
waiting on Nathan's signal to call for help, but he was taking too long.
No,
Nathan,
come
are
on.
you done? I called out. There was no response, and I knew something was wrong. We're being hunted. Who is this creepy dude, and what does he want from us? Many thoughts crossed my mind, and I started getting scared. This is getting out of hand. Call the cops now, Cassie, Nathan's girlfriend, said in tears. I took out my phone to call for help anyway, but there was no signal.
I knew that. I
At
knew
this
it was no
point,
signal.
I was
Y'all
already
just waiting
scared.
there for nothing.
The girls started panicking, and Jess was crying bitterly about going home, but I couldn't leave without Nathan and Mike. I tried looking for them
Mike's
for a while.
dead.
I took
Nathan
the
might
lead,
be
and the
alive.
girls were
Mike's
behind me.
dead.
I kept calling out to Nathan, but there was no response.
Y'all let him go by
This
himself.
agreement was
He's
amassed,
dead
and my
too.
heart was pounding. The only sound we could hear was
There's
the waves.
four of y'all.
I couldn't shake
and y'all
off my
let
eerie
him go
feeling.
up by
I
himself.
finally decided to leave the beach and come back for help. As we were heading to my car, I heard Nathan's voice.
Okay.
He
good
was
shit,
shouting
Nate.
for help.
Go!
Cassie turned around to go to Nathan, but I stopped her. I gave my girlfriend the car keys and told her to drive off and call for help. She didn't want to let me go, telling me how dangerous
Y'all
it was to go
are
back, but
getting on my
I
damn
couldn't
nerves.
leave without my friends, so I persuaded her
go
to
get
go
'em.
with Cassie and Jess.
Where
I had
the
a stick
hell's
in
Jess?
one hand and a flashlight in the other. I pointed the stick out nervously and ran towards Nathan's voice. I kept running until I got back to the water. I didn't hear Nathan's voice anymore, and I didn't see anyone. Coming back
Damn it.
was a mistake. I should have gone with the girls, I thought to myself. I
you're
kept
a
looking
coward.
around. I was out of breath and
You're a
petrified.
coward. You just gave up mad fast.
I was about to leave the beach when I noticed something in the water. It looked like a floating body.
Oh, it's
I
Nathan.
moved closer to observe more, and there was Mike's dead body.
Oh, Mike.
I stood there,
I knew he
frozen,
was dead.
unable
Where's
to move.
Nate?
I fell to the ground and crawled backward. I was shocked and confused.
You
I
ain't got
couldn't
no time
believe
to be
my
shocked and
eyes.
confused. I've been told you
I
these
felt
people's
someone
dead.
hovering behind me. I turned around, scared
Where's
down
your
my
stick
pants to
at?
check if someone was behind me. I hadn't gotten a chance to see the face of whoever was behind me when I got punched in the face.
Ooh.
The
knock your
punch
ass
knocked me
out.
out. I don't know how long I was out, but when I gained consciousness, I was lying on the ground very close to the edge of the water. At this point, I didn't care for anyone. I just wanted to leave the beach for good. I had no idea who was messing with us. Is Mike really dead? I thought to myself.
You got punched in the eye.
I was determined to leave the beach at all
Mike
costs.
dead. You don't
I
know
was so
where Nathan
scared.
is. And the girls.
I tried to stand up to leave. I was feeling dizzy and weak. Tears rolled down my eyes as I was still struggling to walk away and find refuge. Suddenly, someone pulled my hair and dragged me into the water. It was a firm grip. I screamed at the top of my voice, "Help!" I struggled a bit, but it was obvious I wasn't strong enough.
They're trying to drown you. You're
Before
not
I could
strong
blink,
enough. You're not even trying to
feel
fight.
the salty taste of the beach water all over my throat. I stood up immediately. I got a good look at the person.
Whose name?
His terrible teeth and the
goodness.
evil smile on his face made me realize he was the same person I saw hovering around me earlier.
Yep, but
I
everybody
knew
looked at you for
I
it.
didn't have a chance. He was bigger and stronger than I was, so I started begging for my life.
Don't do
My
that.
plead must have provoked him, as he got angry and punched me in the face.
Exactly.
I fell into the water, and he kept his hands over my head, preventing me from getting out.
He ain't about to listen to
He
shit you
seemed
about
to
to
be
say
having
after
fun.
that.
I was too weak to struggle or fight. That moment was the most terrifying moment of my life. I thought that was the end. I was at the brim of death, yet he didn't bother to pull my head out. I tried struggling a bit, but it didn't make much difference.
Is Nathan
I'd
about to
lost all
save
hope,
you, or is
and I
he gone
suddenly
too?
couldn't feel or hear anything until it was lights out. Thankfully, it wasn't long before Jess and the girls came with the cops. I was rescued right on time, and after performing CPR, I started breathing again, and I was taken to the hospital. Nathan was also rescued unconscious.
Okay, good.
He only suffered
good.
a head injury. The doctor said he was hit multiple times on the head. Unfortunately, Mike
was gone.
wasn't so lucky.
Yeah, his eyes look.
The weird guy was finally captured after 2 weeks of intense investigation. The profiler for our case had suggested that the killer was someone who had a grudge against us all, or at least one of us, because his attacks seemed personal. Still, when he was captured, none of us had seen him before. He was just a psychopath who goes about killing young people at the beach, and he's been on the police's wanted list for years. The thought of someone just attacking random people at the beach still shocks me. My grandparents tried their best for me to live a normal life after that, but I couldn't. The event still haunts me to this day.
As it should, not gonna lie.
My name is Nadia, and I am 27 years old. I have 2 university degrees and I'm doing well in my job.
Get crazy.
I'm working all year round, so when vacations come, I immediately go to the mountains to rest. My friends sometimes tell me to go to the beach, but I tell them that the sand... My friends sometimes tell me to go to the beach, but... to rest. My friends sometimes tell me to go to the beach, but I tell them that the sand and the sun are not my things.
Why not?
None of this is true, but I never dared tell them what was really going on. Every time I think of the beach, horrible images invade my thoughts. Memories of a terrifying night when, just because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, I almost didn't survive to remember it. I was only 13 years old and on vacation with my father. He and my mom were separated, so I had to divide my time to be with both of them. I had just come from a mini vacation with my mom, and now I had to spend a few days at my dad's beach house. The first few days went by fast. I was distracted by meeting people and going out to eat in the evenings, so the vacation was going by fast. Everything changed one Tuesday night. That day was usually the day that the beaches were less visited. I was returning from an evening dinner with my father, and we decided to walk along the beach. This was usually not recommended, as the beach can be very unsafe in the dark. But my father, who had been coming to this house since his childhood, assured me that nothing would happen to us.
I'd be like that.
The night was coming along well. The darkness did not scare me, and seeing the beach in the dark and silence was a new experience that made me feel very good. I got a little ahead of my dad and ran along the beach until some lights caught my attention. There were a bunch of men in white robes in front of me. Some of them were holding candle lanterns, while others were together carrying a large bundle. It didn't take me more than a few seconds to realize what was inside that bundle. It was a human body. I
Oh!
couldn't see the human form, but The size was that of an adult, and I could see the blood dripping from the black bag. My first reaction was to run crying. But before I could do anything, my father was already looking at the same scene as me, except that he was not hiding. As soon as he saw the image, fear took hold of my father. He gave a muffled scream and ran away without looking in my direction. The hooded men turned around and saw him.
Yes, he
Some
can
came
make
closer
more
to where I
kids. He can make
still
more
without
kids.
seeing me. But as soon as they could see my father's back, they seemed to be satisfied, so they went back to where they were
Did you
and
run too?
continued on their way.
Or were you not running?
Although I was scared too, I managed to keep my composure and stay calm enough to slip away without making any noise.
Bro, that's
When I arrived
so
at the beach
crazy
house,
your dad left you.
He was already packing all his things, in desperation, immediately asking me to do the same. I went to my room to put all of my stuff away. Luckily, I brought very little luggage, so I was done pretty quickly. I heard a strange noise coming from outside, so I left my bags under the bed and peeked out the window.
They followed y'all?
On the other side,
Oh!
shadows moved quickly
Yep, they trying to
and
get y'all.
stealthily behind my house. Suddenly, I felt a loud knock at the entrance of our house, and I could barely react.
Girl, you better
As a
get
bunch
to
of
your daddy
footsteps
before he
invaded our
leave your ass
vacation home.
again.
As soon as I heard the noises, I ducked under my bed with a knife to protect myself.
Alright, but
And
where's
put
your
the
dad
suitcase
at?
in
Because
front
he's
of
going
me
to leave you, girl.
so they
He
wouldn't
left you
see me.
already once. No hesitation.
Behind it, I could see how a pile of boots covered with the same white tunic I had seen on the beach surrounded the house. Some of them came into my room, but left without much interest when they saw it empty. I kept taking deep breaths and praying that my father might escape,
Oh.
but as if in response, I heard his screams coming from his room, and within seconds, noises of him being dragged through the house. The men in white dragged him into the dining room, and for the first time, I could see him from under the bed. One of them approached him and told him he had interrupted a sacrifice that they were making to appease the wrath of the sea,
Ain't no
which
ain't
was
none of
adamant
y'all.
about offerings. My father tearfully asked for forgiveness, but none of these people were the least bit interested in listening to him. While some of them held him by his arms and legs on the dining room floor, the one who spoke approached him with a knife and drew some symbols on his belly with a pen.
Oh.
They were symbols I had never seen before,
It's some demonic
but that was
shit.
the least of our worries. The man threw the pen to the side of the house, and another one of the hooded men carefully picked it up and put it away. The man who was talking and drawing was clearly the leader. The leader then began to rub the knife across the patterns on my father's body, marking him while ignoring his screams. Suddenly, he tightened his grip on the knife and cut open his stomach. He was still alive, so in complete panic. I could see not only the knife being plunged into him, but all his guts being pulled out and stuffed into black bags. His screams of pain choked as he lost consciousness.
You
These
watched
men
your
did not
daddy
care whether
die.
he was alive or not. They simply removed his organs with precision,
How they do it
very
already?
violently, and quickly,
Oh.
but with surgical precision.
Oh, that made my
You
belly
could tell
hurt.
that they had already done it several times and had practice. Not to mention that they were completely desensitized to human life. After they finished, they simply gathered up all their bags and left, while others stayed behind to clean up any traces of blood or anything that might incapacitate them. After several minutes, the last men were leaving. I didn't know how to react. I had witnessed everything that had happened to my father, and somehow they hadn't detected me. The
They
men had
always do
already
that.
left, so I threw the suitcase and prepared to leave. But the footsteps continued,
Oh.
and a man came rushing into my room after hearing the noise I made. By the time he came in, I had already hidden again, but he knew something was wrong, This person ran my suitcase and saw me. He tried to reach for me with his hands as I went backwards, and after a few seconds, he managed to grab my leg. When he put me back, I used the knife I kept with me, and with my eyes closed, I stabbed him in the eyes. Instead of running, I pressed the knife into his face and made sure it went in as far as possible. When I was sure he was dead, I ran out of the house with my cell phone and called my mom, who thought everything I told her was a lie.
Well, girl, then
After
just come
coming
get
to
me.
look for me and calling the police, they found no trace of my father, but they knew who the culprits were. As their leader had said, the murderers were part of a clan that was dedicated to making sacrifices for the sea. They could never find them, as they always performed their rituals at a random place and time. After that, I went back to my mother and decided to never go to the beach again, even if I went to one far away. I would feel that those people would be there, looking for me to finish their work.
Yeah, girl, you killed one of their people.
Hi, my name's John. I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. My entire life, all I knew was traffic, skyscrapers, and snowy winters. By the time I finished high school, I was ready for a change. I decided to take a year to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. A year to see and experience something different. Turned out, a summer was all I needed. After my graduation, I packed my belongings and moved to the most different place I could imagine. If snow and traffic was all I ever knew, maybe sand and ocean waves would be an appropriate change. I moved to a secluded beach town in the outskirts of Honolulu. My childhood years swimming at the YMCA paid off when I was able to land a job as a lifeguard. Most summer visitors looking for work preferred the busier and more lucrative beaches of Honolulu, always bustling with rich tourists and extravagant lifestyles. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to be off the map, and that's what I found myself in my little corner of Hawaii. Most of my days were spent sitting on a high lifeguard chair, reading a book, and keeping an eye for any distress the waves might cause. I quickly made acquaintances of most of the residents of the beach. It was a close-knit community, and everyone hurried to meet the new outsider from Chicago, me. By the second week, I was welcomed as one of their own, and the novelty of my arrival had passed. One evening as the beach became deserted, I came down from my high chair, ready to call it a day, when I noticed something, rather someone, by the seashore. As I approached, I began to make out what looked like a man crouched down, picking something off the ground. His back was turned to me, and his grunt and murmurs elevated above the drowning sound of waves crashing down. Hello? I questioned. The man, still crouched, turned to face me. What stared at me looked more like a troll than a human.
Get
His
him out of
face
there.
was lacerated in different places. His hair was long but patchy. His eyes bulged from its sockets.
And he's bleeding from
on a
his
face
mouth.
with thin, tight, translucent skin. He wore a long coat full of holes and patches.
He's eating a
Similarly,
raw
torn patches
fish.
and thick military boots.
Hell no. Why is you
The
just
contrast
looking
of
at
his
him?
attire with the relaxing beach setting
You see the
might have
fish
been
mouth
comical if
moving?
it weren't for one thing. His mouth dripped blood and small pieces of flesh. In his hand, a long fish gasped for air and squirmed around his tight grip. Blood streamed from a mouse-sized hole on the fish's back. Next to the man was a pile of fish carcasses. The man began to rise, but by then, I was sprinting away from the moonlit oceanside.
Good job.
I heard nonsensical grunts, but they quickly faded as I distanced myself. The troll man wasn't spotted for the next few weeks.
Are they
Around
picking up
town,
this beach?
I asked vague questions about a mysterious man that may live on the beach, omitting the flesh-eating details in an attempt to not sound crazy
It's
to my
gotta
new
be a
friends.
new beach because they keep going
Nobody
blur
seemed
every time they
familiar
show
with
us.
this mystery man, and I didn't press any further.
Now, is that his wife or is that the
As
girl
time
that
passed,
killed his
I
wife?
began feeling
'Cause we already
guilty for my
talked about
harsh
them.
judgment of this man. Perhaps he was a homeless man, hungry, and resorting to raw fish for survival. After all, I like sushi. And here I was, thinking of him as a troll. One evening I exited the beach, leaving the sand under my feet for the pavement, when a noise caused me to look back. Against the tapestry that was the roaring ocean and starry night sky, I saw the silhouette of a man, wild hair up in the air, creepy along the shore. A short distance ahead of him, a colony of seagulls congregated around food remains. It had to be the homeless man, I thought. I made my way back in his direction
stop
quietly.
before he sick his
As I
seagulls on you.
approached, his creep towards the gulls accelerated. Before long, he was in a full-out sprint towards them. A few
He's trying
gulls
to
took
eat
flight
one?
at the approaching threat. The majority stayed, indulging in their dinner. I raised a hand about to greet the sprinting man when he launched himself towards the remaining gulls.
Why are you
His
about
body,
to
parallel
greet
to
him?
the ground, landed in the center of the group, causing the remaining stragglers to clear out. The loud thud emitted on the soft sand was concerning. "Are you okay?" I called out. Oblivious to me, the man seemed occupied with something.
He's trying to eat a
Horror filled me
seagull.
as I approached and visibility improved. The man wrestled with an enormous seagull that squawked in panic. He held it under the weight of his body as feathers rose through flapping wings seeking escape. By then, a few other gulls had floated above the man, pecking him, attempting to aid their captive brethren.
Period.
The man grunted and yelped, swatting away the flying gulls, and brought down his head. He sunk his teeth to the neck of the captive seagull.
Oh!
The flapping of wings slowed, replaced by a steady flow of blood shooting from the bird's neck. The wings dropped down, void of his life, and the man sunk his teeth down again, this time ripping a large chunk of flesh. The crunching of bone crackled
That's
over
your
the
fault
crashing
for
waves.
trying to greet the damn guy that
Lowered
you
his
just saw
head,
eating raw
directed the
birds.
stream of blood into his mouth. His face turned to my direction, continuing to suck wildly on the bird's neck. "Need something bigger. More blood," he whispered gruffly, blood
He's
dripping
trying
from
to
his
eat
mouth.
you.
With similar vigor at his sprint towards the gulls, he began charging in my direction. I ran and ran and ran. Sand lifted wildly behind me with every stride I took, obscuring the
fast.
sight of the bloody man
Running in some
chasing
damn
me.
sand.
The sand under my feet was replaced by pavement soon, and I continued to run. I don't know when he stopped following me, but I took no chances. That night, I packed my things, called my boss, and gave him my resignation. That
Good.
morning, I was on a flight back to Chicago. A few weeks and one horrible experience was enough for me to want to return home.
Period.
I had all of the beach I needed for a lifetime.
Oh, who knew that was getting crazy like that at the beaches? What? Shark attacks? People being snatched up and hunted? Dads dipping on their daughters in horrible situations? That was the funniest thing to me because fuck these kids, bro. We can make some more. Girl, if I take off and you don't take off behind me, what are you doing? It's like that recent video where what was that? That woman, they were shooting around that lady and the girl ran off and the baby's still right there. Baby ran off too. Smart baby. That little girl ain't smart. She ain't run. The other little girl ran off with her mama. You know you gotta be up out of here. Yo, parent knees, chest, run. Why are you not knees and chesting and running? You know, that's up to you. It's up to you to knees, chest, run, get up out of there. That's crazy. Story 4. Why is you trying to make peace with the, obviously, why is you trying to make peace with the homeless people that that is not trying to talk to you? That man did not talk to you when he was eating them fish. Why would he talk to you when he's attacking these seagulls? More blood, and now he's chasing you, and now you want to run. Finally. You lucky you fast. Because if you wasn't fast, he would have got you. Ooh, this was good. Like, comment, and subscribe. As I always say, feel free to go check out the page right now, SSG Animations. You can go watch their stories by yourself. I be watching them because, I love it. If y'all want to watch it with me, feel free. Stay. Share with somebody else that you know like horror stuff and want to watch with me too. I'm your cousin. Why not? Love you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. Don't forget to share with someone if you want to. Ain't nobody forcing you, but do like this video and comment on this video because that's what cousins do. And bye.